Hello and welcome back. This is AG3 Chapter 4 Video number 3. Today our central question is, how can you use a graph to solve a quadratic equation in one variable? So let's look at some quick definitions. A quadratic equation will be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. That'll be called our standard form. We want to start off all our equations in this way. If it doesn't look like it's equal to 0, we must solve and set it equal to 0. Once we do that, in order to solve by graphing, we need to write in standard form. We will graph it in decimals. Let's say decimals.com. You should have used it already with me. If you have not, come see me and I'll help you. And then once we graph it in decimals, we'll find the x-intercepts. So let's look at an example. Today our example is solve x squared plus 2x equals 3. So notice it's not equal to 0, so we must write it in standard form. So in order to do that, we have to get it equal to 0. We want to keep the x squared positive if possible. So we'll keep that on that side, but here we will subtract 3, and we will subtract 3 on this side. Now here's where it may cause some confusion. There's nothing underneath the x squared, so we bring that down. This minus 3 does not have an x, so we cannot subtract it from the 2x. So the 2x has to come down, positive 2x. Where does that leave the minus 3? Well, we just add it on to the end. And now this equals 0. Once again, we subtracted 3 from both sides, but we can only subtract from like terms, and since none of these are just a number with no variable, we just add it on to the end. So now we have x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0, and it's in standard form. Once we do that, we go to decimals.com. And in our very first bar here in decimals, we type in x squared plus 2x minus 3. I highly recommend that you use the keyboard in decimals. Click on it and it'll bring up the keyboard. And once you do that, you can type things in. And now we need to find our x-intercepts. Our x-intercepts is where the graph crosses the x-axis. And so the way we write that is x equals, and this is negative 3, or x equals 1. You need to pay attention how the graph is numbered. It goes every 4 lines it goes by 2. So every 2 lines is 1. So it goes negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Similarly, it goes positive 1, positive 2. It may change on your graph. It may change on depending on how far you're zoomed in, zoomed out. You need to pay attention. Don't just count lines. So it's very simple. We're going to be graphing in decimals. Everything we're doing today, we have to set up in standard form. We need to graph in decimals, and then we need to find the x-intercepts. Please write me a summary, and then come get the assignment. Our assignment is AG3 Chapter 4 Video 3 practice. We're solving the equations by graphing. So we have a number of equations here, all of which we're going to be putting into decimals and graphing after we set them equal to 0. If they are not set equal to 0, you need to do the work on your paper. And then you can type it into decimals. Once you type it into decimals, you find out what the x-intercepts are, and you tell me x equals, x equals. So at the most, there will be 2 x equals. There can be 1, and there can also be none if it never crosses the x-axis. Alrighty. Go get to work, start to practice.